Yeah. You see this spider cracking in the, basically in the spoiler. Spoilers were urethane, so painted urethane generally cracks over time. Have a fiberglass replacement for it. Would have to be repainted, but it's a lot lighter than this urethane one and won't crack like that. All of the badging's in place. The factory dual exhaust tips, quad tips. You can see there's a little bit of touch-up paint right here on the bumper. A little bit of cracking. The plastic pieces have a little bit of cracking. Not bad, but it's typical of painted plastic over time. But they're not cracked themselves. They'll generally, what they do is just strip the paint off and then repaint them, and they come out fine. Just a little bit of paint there. Same situation. Probably a rock chip. Now for the T-tops, previous owner took and put clear silicone in the T-tops, so they don't leak. It might need new seals, but they don't leak as is. It's like they coated it, the actual rubber with clear silicone. You know, not concourse, but T-tops don't leak at all. The T-tops themselves are in good shape. Latch and hold good. The original Pontiac sticker's a little cracked. You know, they're faded. They see the most sun. But the door stickers are in good shape. Emblems. This door handle still has the original white on it. The old door handle, I had to replace this door handle with a brand new one. And I didn't put the white. I like the black out a little bit more than the white. You see some paint fading there. Pretty typical. This needs touch up. This is a little scratch that was on the mirror. Looks like I rubbed up against something. But the power mirrors all work. Turbo emblems. Indianapolis pace car emblem. This is the one spot in the body paint where there's a clear coat issue. Looks like a piece of clear coat chipped off right here. But that's the only place I could really find in the paint in the actual body itself that was bigger than just a little rock chip. The wheels and tires are all in pretty good shape. What this thing has is it has these are the front wheels with the bigger lip. I put fronts all around because I like the way that it spaces the tire out more. Makes it look wider from the back. You could probably go another inch in. So these are 8s. You could probably go 9 with this width and widen the wheel to the inside and run a 275 by 16 drag radial or regular radial like a Nitto. So inside, the leather has typical, all these leathers have some leather cracking. The passenger seats are generally really good on them. It's only the driver seats that are bad. Dash pads uncracked, really good shape. All the controls are pretty good. Back seats, pretty much never been sat in, so it looks good. This has got a dash cover. Probably why the dash is good. Had a dash cover. There's no rust or anything. Just it's the original paint. There's some discoloration from the rubber touching up against the original paint, but car's not been repainted. The bottoms of the doors still, original paint. Underneath, It's got, I put in a replacement cat. It's got welded in subframe connectors the previous owner put in. I put in, you know, the cat is basically, you can replace it with a test pipe. I have a test pipe that you can bolt in place with a slip. It's got a slip joint band clamp that holds the front, and then it's bolted to the back with a bolt. Yeah. Shocks are brand new Coney adjustables. The backs to adjust you have to, it's under the seat to adjust the shocks themselves, but the fronts are adjustable under the hood. Power antenna, I think the cable's broken on that. When I got it, I didn't fix it, but basically have to go in and, you know, replace the cable. I just leave it up. Also, when I got it, the headlights didn't pop up, but they pop up fine now. I'll demonstrate in a minute. This is the cracking of the front. You know, typical spider vane, like an impact crack. A couple of those. Every turbo Trans Am that's driven probably has that. They have better paint now that doesn't do that. You know, it has a flex agent in it, or better flex agent in it. But it's got the original driving lights. So let me start it up. Pop the hood. Need the key. It's got a chip key. I've got multiple copies of the chip key, theft deterrent key. Okay. $199. Just buy ammo and accessories with these crazy deals. And as always, have that crazy got dinner. So basically the gauges are all pretty good. It's not up to temperature yet, but the idle should smooth out when it gets up to temperature. It's, you know, idling at 900 out in. So it idles and runs pretty good. 73,000 miles on it. Headlights pop up. Brights work. Parking lights. Let's go out and look at the parking lights. Doesn't smoke. Yeah, these typical, they're torque engines. They're not really horsepower engines, so max RPM is 5,200. Stock motor doesn't really want to rev above 5,200, but most of the 11 and 12 second cars, they're not revving over 5,000. They still have the stock motor. See, the oil pressure's pretty good. Buick V6s are normally pretty low. 40 at idle. Let's see if it drops any when I put it in gear. That's pretty good actually for a Buick V6 to have oil pressure that high. So there's the seat issues. Kind of, this is pretty typical, and then the bolster. But the rest of the seat isn't bad. It's just typical. They make seat covers. Hawk 3rd Gen makes seat cover for that. Glove box has the original cassette holder, Coney adjustable shock, and then this is for the lug, for the wheel lugs. Mirrors, power mirrors work right and left. And left. Power door locks work. Power windows all work fine. No check engine light or anything. It's got these covers for the T-tops for sun, and I put in a home link. I didn't match the paint. It was tannish, but it's home link, so I can open the gate and the garage doors. Rear defroster, trunk. Issue with the, can't have it. Let's shut it off. Pop the trunk. The problem with the trunk is that spoiler's so heavy. It pops it, but then it doesn't. The struts don't have the angle to pop it up. So unlock. So you have to use the key until you put the fiberglass spoiler on. I don't know why that's going off. Well, the buzzer was I left the headlights on. That was why it was buzzing at me. I forgot I left the headlights on. So won't do that again. So let's pop the trunk again and go back and look. So it's got an automatic closer, but the spoiler's so heavy that it can't pop it. So you have to actually use two hands. Pop it and then. Actually, I need new struts. New spoiler would fix it. So, might need new struts. Okay, well, add that to the list. So, what we've got back here is we've got the actual Turbo Trans Am wires, the steering wheel, Turbo Trans Am service manuals, supplement, the original radio, which is the steering wheel control radio, original air filter box, cone, no, it stays up, T-top bags, and the original turn signal switch with the steering wheel compatible that goes with the steering wheel. And then in this place here, that's where the amp is for the subwoofer. It's a 300 watt Kenwood amp. The head unit on the radio actually controls the subwoofer. It's Bluetooth compatible. Got the key. Bluetooth compatible, and it's removable face, and it's got a CD player. But yeah, we use it for, my son used it because he's got all his music on Bluetooth. It's got some previous owner installed a theft prevention device. It won't start without this in. See? So basically it's theft prevention. It'll only start with this in place like that. Yeah. So let's check under the hood. That stays up. Typical stock turbo, stock intercooler. Has a open K&N. This is where the factory box would go. But it doesn't smoke, or it's relatively clean. Of course, it's got the aftermarket wires, but it's relatively stock injectors. these have the later heads with the center bolts. The older 3.8 liters. These are the 3 liter heads. The old 3.8 liters didn't have center bolts on them. That's how you can tell a turbo trans am motor. I've got an NOS set of 3 liter heads of that casting number, and they're really good looking heads compared to a regular. Under here is where the adjustments are for the shocks. You just pop those off, put the knob that's in the glove box, and twist the shocks either more. And then these have actual adjustment for camber and caster that you can do. Now it just looks like camber, but you can give it a little bit more negative camber for autocrossing. For the it says a factory down pipe still on it. I ported the elbow, which is a common mod. Basically the elbow is kind of a restriction in the turbo, and you port it to improve the short side radius. That's a typical turbo Buick mod. If you're still running the stock turbo, is to port the elbow out. It's got the stickers still from pads. Battery is relatively new, Duralast. AutoZone. Got washer fluid and coolant levels good. Got a little bit of a lope to it, but that's pretty much how they all are. It's coming up temperature now. I mean, that's pretty typical. This is the oil pressure and the temperature. It's about as hot as they get. If you run the AC, it might get a little closer to 220, but they run relatively reasonably. The volts are good. Turbo boost. It won't make any boost without load, but I put it in gear and rev it up against the motor. Yeah, I just broke the tires loose. So it'll make a lot, and that was maybe with a quarter throttle. They can make some power when the turbo spools up. So, and that's the issue with it. If you get one with there's exhaust leaks, they won't spool like that. They won't spin the tires just sitting there. So yeah, I didn't lay down any rubber, but PBR front calipers, dual piston. They're similar to what the 1LE cars came with, if not the same brake setup. They're 12-inch brakes in front. They might even be 12-inch or 11.5 in the rear. So they're the best brakes that got put on a 3rd gen, which is good. I mean, the only issue with these is with the turbo boost. They're vacuum brakes. Probably it needs new pads. It's, you know, the braking could be better right now. I was going to put new pads on it, but I didn't get around to it. That's new ceramic pads would probably improve the braking. But then, you know, I mean, I have a Mustang 5 liter with 14-inch brakes all around, so you know, I was comparing it to that. But still, this thing should brake pretty good once it's got, you know, good pads bedded in.